I was in the infantry first, and the mission of the infantry is to close with and kill or capture the enemy.
Yep.
That's it. I didn't have to think any farther than that.
Yep.
Everything I did, everything I learned, everything I was taught, everything I practiced, and everything I did was that. It was a modification when I got into the Special Forces. But that's how far we've come. That's how far I've come. I can speak for me. Loving that mission to loving the mission that I feel I have now.
And there are so many veterans that are still in those military missions and can't find a way to be present and enjoy life and share and connect with people.
They've identified, they've lost their own authentic power, as you would call it. They find that power within their military identification.
Yeah. So do any of you have disagreements or other thoughts about any of the things that I've shared? Because that's what I want to hear.
Yeah,
Paul?
and I'll be the first to say it. I'm that guy. I'm always that guy. I'm listening to a bit of hyper-liberal tone here. And, I was the guy that went into the military because I wanted to serve my nation. I believed in it. I got made fun of because of how much I believed in this nation. I still get made fun of it at times. I believe in the American dream. I suffered through racism as a kid. I was the only Hispanic kid, all white neighborhood. I still live in a 99% white town. Everything I did, people argue about why are we in Afghanistan? Why is the global war of terrorism still existing? I was in Iraq and Afghanistan. I did 900 plus days on the ground. I did 15 tours. I was a private security contractor for the CIA. And even as a security contractor, you're called an expatriate because you're not necessarily a mercenary, because you still have a vested interest in that nation's mission, which we're still U.S. soldiers, and we still had to go through all the security clearances and everything and all the vetting, all the testing that if we were actually hired by that agency. And we passed it all. And so it wasn't like we didn't have secret clearances and everything else. We went through everything. To me, it's irrelevant whether or not politicians or armchair quarterbacks, or we can analyze why we're there because of this money or that money. It's irrelevant. And as cliche as it sounds, I believed in serving my nation wholeheartedly. I knew exactly what I signed up for. I fully expected it. 100%. Was not surprised when it happened. I'm still not surprised. I've never suffered from PTSD. I've never had to sit with my back to the door. I'm not that guy. I love my kids. I run these rivers. I put thousands of miles on this river. I've invested a lot of my own money putting veterans on this river to give them the kind of healing that I've experienced on this. But yeah, I still carry a Glock 17. I give, active shooter courses. I don't believe that a police officer I couldn't be a police officer nowadays because I think they're just trying to keep their job because of all the lawyers and other things that go on. But, and when people said thank you for my service, in my more bold younger days, I would say, because I finished service in summer 2012, I would say, I haven't met a U.S. service member that would have done it for free if they didn't get paid every month. So it's been pretty good to me. And they would be like, well, did you really just say that? I was like, well, it's true. I don't know anybody who would do it for free. And so I don't say that anymore. I say thank you very much. But, and then I follow it with, no, it's been really good to me. And it has. I could care less why I was there was right or wrong, because I was doing it not for the facade of God and country. I still come back here and I believe in this flag. I believe in this nation. I believe it's still the greatest nation on the earth. Amen. And there's nothing that's going to take that away from me. I was an orphan in Bogota, Colombia, dying of malnutrition. I am a product of the system. I was in foster care, youth shelters. And I came here through a foster parent scholarship. I played college golf and different things and decided I wanted to be in the military. And so, I was indoctrinated in the Special Forces thing where they're like, you're awesome and you're better than everybody else, and I embraced that. Yeah, I thought I was awesome, and now I'm on the other side of it to where, yeah, I served, but I don't want to diminish what anybody did, and I don't want anybody being afraid of firearms just because it's not a nasty, mean little thing. And this global warming thing and the science behind it, there's great debate on that one. I just truly believe that we are in the greatest nation in the world. And I think the disconnect with veterans is they honestly don't know where to fit right now. And I believe the weakness of the mind of veterans coming out. And I believe there is a weakness here. When I signed up for it, I knew exactly what I was getting into. I believe in PTSD. I believe that happens. I've never suffered from it. And I'm empathized with people who go through it. They go through tremendous tragedy. And so I know what it's like, because my garage door, when it would open, I was 27 years old before I stopped wincing because I was so abused as a kid hearing garage doors. So I understand a little bit about PTSD, but I matured past that and was able to embrace that. So I would really caution, just from my heart to yours and everyone here, that your platform is so powerful, but it does come across as if, to a certain degree, from your own story, there's a bit of diminishing those I don't believe it's a false front, false for God and country. There's plenty of people who really, really did that. Pat Tillman really did that. And there's other people who have done it. And so I would just caution that. Yep.
I'd like to say something. I understood what I'm hearing is, the mission in the world should be life. It should be not to destroy life, it should be to have life. We are all born, and life is important, and connection with people is very important. And whether we all have a commonality of serving the U.S. government or anywhere, life is ultimately what we are given. We give our children life, our parents gave us life, we have life, and the connection of the soul is a very important thing. And a lot of times, whether it's busyness in life or going to the military and having our mission changed from what our parents may have said to us or do, it's getting back to what is the importance of our soul. And as Frankie alluded to, it's friendship, it's connection, it's love. And that's what I'm hearing, is that's very important. And I'm also hearing something else that was a bantering between the two of you, Frank and Gary. And it's something that, may spark an emotion here, and so be it. If the commander-in-chief deems the military to turn against our own civilians, which are us, what do we do? And that's our life. And then we become communists on our own soil. So it's an interesting question. If something happens that we are no longer, whatever we are, whether we're liberal, Democrat, white, Asian, no matter what we are, what happens when we become our own enemy to ourselves? And how do we stick together for that same common goal called life? Because that's an interesting question. What would we do? And I know that when I took my oath in Portland, that said that I would fight on soil, foreign or domestic, and, kill Americans on American soil. That's a kind of a deep thing. That kind of hits my gut. And no matter what political party you belong to or what you belong to, we're all in this thing called life. And our experiences and our time we spend with each other, you don't start out shaking someone's hand by saying what your affiliation is or whether you're a Christian or not a Christian. You make a commonality with another human and you share with that person. And then if you choose to share something that could be more, volatile later, that's a choice. But we all have the same thing, is that we're all human, we all want to connect, we all want to be accepted, we want to be loved. And I think that's kind of the root of all of it, is getting back in with our sensitive side. The mushy side, the part that our husbands or wives like. Right, Jeannie? The connection. And that's what I'm taking from this message.
I think it's our responsibility as veterans to make those connections, not just with other veterans, but with other civilians, so that they can understand, not just to come back and forget what we did, but to be present with people and to teach them what is going on, and to break the people that are coming. We have people coming back from war every day, And so we're going to keep having the issues, and we have to find a common bond and a way to connect and a way to find purpose together. And that's what's going to keep us, save our souls and to save us coming together, I think.
And this is just something that I feel. I grew up around Vietnam veterans, a lot of times in the woods with Vietnam veterans. And they knew me as somebody that wanted to join the military and play that G.I. Joe. I didn't have any other thought other than being part of something bigger than me and being G.I. Joe. That's one thing that Vietnam veterans told me was, don't do it. They said it really. They said, really take care of your community. That's the core. Those same Vietnam veterans had kind of changed or lost their sight or had forgotten the things that they'd experienced and the truths that they've seen. As long as we bring our kids up, and I think of this as a father, my son. Oftentimes I'm approached saying, oh, is this the next generation warrior? And it depends on what context. Because there's a very, very ancient proverb that a soldier follows orders and a warrior follows his heart. So generally that person isn't that informed or not that aware of the meaning of some things. But I'm kind of shaking about this because this is, as long as we bring our kids up to look at me as like, oh, I want to be like him, we're going to perpetuate the insanity.
What?
The insanity.
Oh. Well.
As it currently is. If I say, hey, it's what our family does, join the military, that is only feeding what is already broken. It's broken. I supported and defended the Constitution of the United States. No man. I supported the ideals of what we enjoy here. Those ideals, that those men were inspired to come up with these ideals. It wasn't a man. I serve no man. I serve Earth. I serve our collective communities, which are all here, right now. And I listen or I read Thoreau a lot. And he said in his observations that as long as we glamorize these experiences that we have in the form of a shiny uniform or go ahead, march forward with the flag, we're going to perpetuate this insanity. We're going to support this current, call it a military-industrial complex. We're only supporting that. We're no longer supporting what really matters here, what matters to me. I hope to God my son never has to or feels that he has to join military to be able to serve his country. Because my experience, when shit hit the fan, I did not care about a flag. I did not care about what was going on over here. It was me, my fear, and the men next to me. That was it. Nothing else mattered.
I disagree.
Yeah,
Good.
part of it maybe.
I disagree. I cared what was going on next with the people next to me, even in battle.
Of course.
Extremely so.
That's all that mattered to me.
You bet. Well, yeah, it was more than that, though. More than just what it was. What was coming afterwards? You know, what was coming after that battle? What am I here fighting for? What is life about? What has life given me? What do I have to give back to life? And it's a heck of a lot more than pulling a trigger on a gun or something like that. That's what I can give to my fellow human beings.
You had, Frank, the opportunity to really contribute to a good globally that
Yeah. The
it
difference
is
in Vietnam.
in generations afterwards.
Yeah.
It just isn't there.
It's true.
It just isn't there.
Yeah, but it should be. That's what gets me. It should be. It should be there.
Yeah.
It should be there. People should realize what is the best for life for every other individual.
Well, we have.
We should know that. We should realize that. And all too frequently we don't. And I am so grateful for other people that have given me so much. Curiosity. Jeannie, some of you people out here, life is good. Life itself is good. And to be able to share that goodness with each other, with other people. And although sometimes it might make us quake inside, we still should do it and can do it. And I say I'm grateful for the love and the life that I've had, and thanks a lot to this woman right here and to dear friends. And what's really interesting, it's life and love. I hope that maybe the kids shouldn't be listening to this, but love itself is a lot more than just sex.
No kidding.
Yeah. Well, at your age, maybe not, Jeannie, but no, I'm serious, and I hope you know what I'm trying to say. Life itself is the most precious gift that the Lord can give us, and I am so grateful that I have been able to live such a long life and just meet some really unbelievably wonderful people, and to be married to one of the most finest little angels that ever lived. And God is good. I'll put it. God is good.